Hello, my name is Dustin Lawson from Texas A&M University Commerce. Today I'm going to be talking about the mathematical movement to Europe from Chapter 6 of our math history book. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about 6.4, Leonardo of Pisa, or Fibonacci. So we're going to set the scene up a little bit. Early Europe was heavily influenced by the Roman Catholic Church. Very little changed during the reign of the Church because early Christians were very apprehensive to change. They were so apprehensive, in fact, that they didn't really record time or dates, and most people didn't really know what century they lived in because they felt like they didn't need to. Because of this, they looked down upon scientists and mathematicians. Venice was kind of a powerhouse in the early Europe civilization. They were the first truly capitalist center of Europe. Their seafaring superiority and their control of rivers leading inland had been established in the 9th and 10th centuries. Their determination to maintain good relations and alliances made them great trading partners. By the end of the First Crusade, they had attained complete supremacy over all their commercial rivals. They had an unlimited freedom of trade throughout the empire. After the Crusades, commercial rivals to Venice began to appear on the other side of Italy. Pisa and Genoa had been exposed to Arab domination in the Mediterranean during the Crusades and could not develop commercially. Private merchants in Italy began to organize to defend their interests and to remove the Arab influence and control in nearby countries. Both of these cities played a dominant part in the First Crusade, and afterward they reaped some rewards from it. International banking was on the rise during the Crusades because medieval rulers collected revenue by taxation. During wars, time to collect needed funds was not always available because so many of their people were gone to the Crusades. So needing money from mercenaries, funds were often borrowed from the church. The relationship between English kings and Italian merchants began in the 1100s, when Richard Lionheart and his knights obtained loans from Italy on their way to the Holy Land. Yes, this was during the time of Robin Hood. European and Arabic mathematics meet at last. As commercial activity increased and the recording of more numerous transactions became necessary, instead of using faulty memories, the importance of bookkeeping and arithmetic became apparent. Trade routes that extended to the northern coast of Africa had brought Italian merchants into contact with the Hindu-Arabic numbers and associated arithmetic. It was so obvious to anybody that had to use the Hindu-Arabic system that it was so much more efficient than the Roman numerals that they had used before. The Bonacci family. One citizen of Pisa who was drawn into this economic activity was Guglielmo, of a family named Bonacci. As a secretary of the Republic of Pisa, Guglielmo was sent to Bugia to direct the interests of Pisan merchants. Because he wanted his son to become a merchant, his son Leonardo accompanied him. Leonardo Bonacci. He becomes known in modern times as Fibonacci because of Filio Bonacci used in his later writings. This means the family of Bonacci. His father had him instructed in the Arabic Hindu numerals and calculations. He attended business trips to Egypt, Syria, Greece, Sicily, and Provence. Here he continued his study of the Arabic Hindu numerals as well as enjoyed discussions with scholars from the region. So Fibonacci was very well versed in many different cultures and had several years to become fluent in Arabic Hindu numerals. The life of Fibonacci was an interesting one. His first project was the Liber Abaci, the Book of the Abacus. The word abacus referred to calculating or computing. He came under the patronage of Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II. Now, you might be wondering, what on earth is a patronage? Well, you see, much like today's athletes have to have a sponsor in order to play whatever sport they want to play, academics had to have a patronage or a sponsorship from rulers in order to sustain their needs. Frederick was a really interesting guy. He spoke several languages. He grew up in Sicily, which at the time had a large Islamic population. He had an appreciation for Muslim learning because of where he grew up, and that didn't really sit well with Catholic leaders. However, his ability to deal with Arab leaders led to success where others had failed. During the Crusades, Jerusalem was recaptured by the Muslims under the leadership of Saladin in 1187. Almost 40 years later, Frederick had pledged to undertake a crusade to retake Jerusalem. However, he repeatedly delayed. After angering the Pope, Frederick did retake the city by negotiation. Without resorting to violence, he was able to broker a deal that was acceptable to both sides. It included Christian control of the city, along with the right of entry to Muslims to get to their holy sites. His tolerant attitude towards Muslims and his interest in their knowledge caused some Catholics to refer to Frederick as the Antichrist. One of the delays for Frederick in leaving for the Crusades in 1225 was caused by his organization of a mathematics contest. Among those who entered the challenges of the contest was Leonardo Fibonacci. Some other works from Fibonacci include Floss or Blossom. You see, that was the title of the work that he entered into Frederick's contest before the Crusades. The Liber Quadratorum was called the Book of Squares. It followed the tradition of Arabs and was taken from the algebra of Omar Khayyam.